Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden. A little bit red cheeks. I was just out shoveling snow a bit ago, so wind blown a little bit. We're going to make a ribbon bookmark today. Now this is it's not too hard. You just need a few special things like some ribbon and some beads, a couple of little end pieces, a teeny touch of glue, and some of your beading wire. So let's turn down and I'll show you what we're going to do. I have pink, so since I have pink beads, this is what we're going to use right now. I got the pink soft flex out. I've got a nice pink piece of pink ribbon. Now, as far as the length of the ribbon is concerned, I usually make these for paperback books. So what I do is I simply get a paperback book, put my ribbon across, add a little extra on either end. So we're going to cut it about right here. So we'll get our scissors and cut this off. Now I'm going to use scissors because this is ribbon, and my flush cutters would probably cut it, but I think scissors are better. So we're going to we just have our nice little ribbon here. Now we can do this in one or the other stage. We can put the ends on the ribbon right now, or we can wait until we have our pieces onto it to put the ribbon on. Now one thing I do when I do these is, see how these are a little extra long? They're sort of longer than the middle. I don't appreciate that. So I take my flush cutters and I cut just a little bit off of both sides. That doesn't want to cut right now for some reason. There we go. So I cut this little bit off of both sides so that when I turn it, it's not trying to bunch up. So we're going to turn this off. Now, if you have the ones the end pieces like this that have the little prong on them, you really don't want that prong. It will sometimes cut your ribbon. So if the prong were on here, I would bend it down and cut it off. So what we're going to do is, like I say, we've got our little end caps. We have our ribbon. We're going to put that on in just a minute. Then I have my soft flex, and I have these really pretty swirly beads that I got as a free gift, and the mauve pearls that we didn't finish, that we still had some of from my last bunch of stuff. And we have these little cubes, which were also in a free gift. So we're going to put those like this. And then we're going to have a little round spacer at either end. And I forgot to get my little daisy spacers out. So we'll get those now. I just want daisy spacers between each one. So we want 1, 2, 3 daisy spacers for each side. Well, actually, because this is going to have... Ta-da! We'll need a few more daisy spacers, but that's all right. Now, some people are probably going to say, how long should I make my my bead strand? Well, as long as you want it. This is one of those things that I really don't specify a certain length. With the hook bookmarks, I like my bookmark to be approximately the same length as my hook, or maybe a little longer, a little shorter, but right in that range. For this, because it's a ribbon, I don't care. It can be a little longer, it can be a little short one, it can be a longer one. Wouldn't make it too horribly long, but this is plenty long enough here. So what we're going to do is I need to get some crimp tubes out. So we're going to get some crimp tubes out. Now, I'm probably going to jump ring these ends onto the other. You can use, put them on directly, but I generally just jump ring them. So you don't have to worry about trying to get them perfect right off the bat, get them perfectly on there, on your rings. And besides that, sometimes these are a little sharp on these little ends. So you don't really want something that's going to possibly damage them. So we're just going to get a little bit of wire out here. And I'm just going to string this up onto here just to start. I'm just going to put it on here. It doesn't matter that I don't have my end on yet, because I'm going to be, I'll cut it off when it's about the length I want it. It doesn't have a charm or something, so you don't have to hook anything on the bottom. You can put a charm on the bottom if you want. I have made them with charms on the bottom. This one is got a little ball spacer down here, and I'm just going to wrap around it. So we'll just string this little thing up like so. And I'll probably cut my second wire once I have this on, so that because I'm going to be able to see exactly how long this one is. So what we're going to do, as you can see, we got this here. Now what I'm going to do is, oops, I forgot something. I want to put one of my crimp tubes on before our last little round bead here. Why? Because what we're going to do is we're going to take this around here, and instead of going into this bead, we're going to just come down here, pull this up so that that little bead is wrapped right into the center of our beading wire right there. That's going to act as a stop bead for our piece here. Now, if you wanted to, you could just crimp it right here and then cut the wires off, and you wouldn't have to have that stop bead on there, but I prefer it. So there we are, all crimped up, nice and tight. Now I'm going to slide my beads down, see if if they'll go over this second strand. Hopefully they will, and yes, it does. This glass pearl has a little bit more room than they frequently do. So now see, our little cube is the one that's giving us some difficulties here. But we'll see if we can get it on. There we go. And I'm just going to cut this extra little bit of wire right here. So let's get our clippers out, and we'll clip this right here where it comes out of our little cube. Then we can roll this down here, and there is our first piece. So we can cut this about right here, and then I'm going to get about that same length of wire out. This, so maybe just a little bit longer, since we have to turn that last bit, and we'll cut that right there. There we go. This is our second piece. Now this one, I'm going to start it by doing my little wrap, and I could end this one right now too, because I'm just going to make a loop at the end so that I can jump-ring it onto my piece. But because I'm just going to take this and go through this right here with my crimp tube, and I'm going to pull it up good and tight. See, we're about the same length now. Now I'm going to take my crimping pliers, and we're going to crimp it right here. Like I say, if you wanted to, here is the spot where you could hang a charm, or if you didn't want to have a charm but you didn't want to have the little stop bead on there, you could also just cut it off at the crimp right there and just have the little ball there. So we'll do this one exactly like the other one. Come on, both lines go into there. Now this one, it looks like I already left it small enough that I don't need to put cut it off right here because it's already not there. So isn't this a pretty bead? It's got the AB on the one side with the swirl. This has the swirl on this side as well. It just doesn't show up as well because it doesn't have the AB on it. This little cube has AB on it as well, so it's very pretty. Now you wouldn't need to put this little ball spacer here on the end here if you didn't want to. I'm just doing it so it sort of matches the other side. So now we have our two sides here. So now we'll put our crimp bead on, or crimp tube I should say. Then we're going to turn our wire just like we did before, and we're going to go through the ball spacer and through the pearl. Now, I think I'm just going to stop at the pearl so that I don't have to try and fight it going through the cube. And if I wanted to, in fact, it might be a good idea, I might even put it through the daisy spacer, just so we have that, it can just, could just go down the side of the cube for spacing and such. But we're going to just, since I didn't do that to start with, I'm not going to. I'm not on this one anyway. I might on the other one so I can show you the difference. But we just want to leave a little loop there at the top so we can jump ring it onto our little connector here. So we're going to push this baby down as much as we can, get this guy in here, and we're going to crimp our little crimp tube right here. Turn and crimp till this baby is entirely crimped up. Then we'll cut this excess wire off. Come on, wire, let's go. Daisy spacer's getting in the way of cutting it here. Come on. So cut that, and then we're going to slide this so it goes into the daisy spacer. Hopefully we can get it to go in there. There we go. So there is one bead strand done. Now we'll just do the same with this side. Grab a crimp tube. Looks like I have an extra one out here. And then we will again go through the crimp tube, through the ball spacer, through the pearl, and this time I'm going to go through the daisy spacer because I'll show you what I mean once I get it to do it. There we go. It's coming. So what we're going to do here, if I get it to behave here for me, is, come here you, just pull. There we go. Oh, it didn't stay through the daisy spacer. What I was going to do is, and let's see if we can get it to go back up through it. Come on, go through the daisy. So what I'm going to show you here is how, when you go through the daisy spacer as well, and you're on this round, on the cube bead, you will come on, you behave yourself. Nope, pulled the wrong side. Now I need to push them all back through again. What will happen is if you get this sitting just right, once you go in through here, it will, come on you, which way do you need to go through here? This way. Come on. Go through the daisy spacer as well, and you will when you come down and you get tightened up down here, you'll be sitting down the side of our cube, making it a lot easier to lay down here and come down and sit properly. So see how that's now sitting down the side of the cube rather than poking out right there. A little bit smaller. Okay, now we'll crimp this. Like so, and then we can cut this off right here at the edge of the daisy spacer by the cube. There we go. So our 2 bead strands are now done. So our next step is going to be to put the, we can do this one of 2 ways. We can glue these on, or we can get some jump rings and put these onto here. Quite frankly, it's easier to put these on before you put the bead strand on, because the bead strand's going to want to flop around and it's going to keep it from easily going on. So let's get our silicone mat and our super glue out, because we're going to put just a tad of super glue on either spot so that it holds it better. So I have my ribbon, I have my 2 little end pieces, and I have my bent nose pliers. Those are for putting these down together. Now you're going to have to wipe them off because inevitably they'll get a little super glue on them. You'll have to wipe them off quick. I've got my Loctite super glue. I'm going to put a drop of super glue. Oops, that's a little more than I want, but that's all right. Just put a little bit there, and a little bit here. Come on, just a little bit more. Okay, then we'll put that on this one. A little more. And then we have this little daub on this one. So then we'll close this up so that it doesn't get dry. Put it aside. Now we're going to take these and we're going to put them on the ribbon ends. I've got it stuck on my finger. Now how did I get glue there? Anyway, so we'll put our ribbon in right into the end right here. Stop it. And then we're going to squish these over and push them down. Come on, go down. Stubborn thing. So we want to push the one side down first, like so, and it just turned on me, so I'm going to try and turn it a little bit better so that it's back in here better. and then we will take the other side and squish it down. So there is our one side done, and it's a little bit crooked. Hopefully I can straighten it up just a little bit so it's not, doesn't stay crooked like that. There we go. Now we'll turn it and we'll put the other side in. It goes in right into there. Come on, baby, go in. All the way. Now it's in too far because see, it's up across our button here. So now we'll hold that, and I've got super glue on my fingers. We'll push the ends together, and it pulled off. They just do love to be difficult. Now there's glue at the end of the ribbon, so we have to be careful or we will have to open this back up some because it's closed too much to get the ribbon back in place. So we'll put our ribbon back in place, hold it for a little bit. Now we're going to squish one side down. And turn and squish the other side down. Now this side looks to be like it was a little bigger than the other side, and that happens, so we want to squish them both down. Nice and squished. Now you can see I have a little bit of ribbon out here, and I might even have a little glue in my holder button. If I do, I'll just poke that out. So we don't have it permanently there. And that's good. Now we're going to let these dry for just a few seconds. And then we can put it together the rest of the way. This dries, then we'll get a couple of little tiny jumprings, and we'll jumpring this little piece, these pieces onto our they're almost dry. So let's just put this together. So we'll open up our little jump ring here. These are 4 millimeters, what we call the Tinky Tots. And we'll open it up, go through one of our loop ends here, go through one of our loop ends on our bead strand, and then we'll close it back up. Do the same on the other side. So through our loop end, and then, oops, through our bead strand, close it up, and our ribbon bookmark is finished. Isn't that pretty? Such a simple little thing, but oh, it turns out so nice, and it looks so good. So since this is probably all the way dry, now we'll take this out, and you can see what it looks like. So there we go. This one is unfortunately a little bit crooked, but it's not bad. So there we go. That's what she finishes up looking like. And so if you wanted to put her in a book, we'd open up our book, and it would drop down. The ribbon would drop down through the pages like so, and then it would hang out either side, and so you'd have the beads at the bottom and at the top. Now I could have made this a little longer. See, there's barely any ribbon hanging out at either side, and that's all right. But it still have enough to pull this down and for our bead strand to go down the spine of our bead. Of our book, I should say. And then it hangs out the bottom. So it looks like so. Isn't that fun? And such a simple thing, but oh, it's really fun to do. They're fun to make. And they're really pretty when they're done. So there is one ribbon bookmark all finished. So isn't that pretty? here we go. Here is our ribbon bookmark, our pretty little pink ribbon bookmark. That is a little crooked there on this end. Unfortunately, I did not get that straight in the carrier, but it's not. It's still really pretty. It still works just fine. There we go. So that's how you make a ribbon bookmark. You have our little bit of ribbon, we have our caps here at the end, and we have our bead strands. Like I say, if you wanted, you could put a charm on the bottom here instead of the little ball spacer, and that works really well too. Or, you know, there it is. Now, if you wanted a wider ribbon, I do have some little clasps that will hold a wider ribbon than this one, but I like these little ones. They're not invasive into your book too much, and they work just fine. Like I say, you just put it down through the spine of your book like so, till it comes out the other end. This one's a little bit curled in here. Turn it so it's not curled up. The ribbon isn't curled. I don't make as many of these as I used to, and so I have to work at getting the, but see how it just sits like so. So that's why I have a little more trouble now than I used to get my to get the ribbon into the little ribbon holders, the little ends here, and that's simply because I don't do it as much as I make as many of these as I should. I used to be able to just flip those in with not giving me any problem whatsoever. So anyway, that's our ribbon bookmark. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. I hope you enjoyed making that with me, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.